Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry about that. I know that you just got kicked out of the meeting. My name is Catherine, and I am from SEB Housing. And this is the lottery for the 6 affordable homes and 1 workforce housing home located at Richmond Sandpiper Place in Nantucket. I know there's a couple people still joining for audio, so I'm just going to give that one moment. And so first two, I want to mention, if you have any questions during the lottery tonight, you're encouraged to go ahead and unmute yourself, ask the question. You were muted automatically when you came into the meeting today, just to minimize any unnecessary noise. You can also type your question into the chat. If you have Zoom up on your screen there, you should be able to navigate to the chat there. So just want to give you some background information on the lottery itself. So, and then also the next steps after tonight. You will be getting an email with the waiting list after tonight's session. So anybody who is not currently on the call or who wants to see the waiting list, which all of you do, you can do that after I sort the results tonight. So no need to write anything down. All this information is going to be in the email that you get later on tonight. So there's 6 affordable homes, and those 6 affordable homes are available to households with total income at or below 80% of the area median income for the area. All of those homes have 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. There's also one, what's referred to as workforce housing unit, or home, I should say, and that is made available to applicants with a total household income at or below 175% of the area median income. That home also has 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. There were a total of 71 households in the lottery. Those were 71 completed applications. There were 66 households who indicated that they had local preference. So those are households who either live or work in Nantucket. And 53 of the 71 households qualified for the affordable homes, so the 80% homes, while the remaining 18 households qualified for the workforce home, that 175% of AMI homes. The developer has confirmed recently that the 1 workforce home as well as the first affordable home should be completed sometime this fall. There's not a set date yet that they project that they'll be ready for occupancy, but they're hoping that at least the first affordable homes and then that 1 workforce home will be ready prior to Thanksgiving. And they anticipate being able to provide the top lottery households. So those of you who are at the top of the waiting list after tonight, they'll be able to provide you with a more precise timeline pretty soon. So all households should already have their lottery application number. That number was in the form of a series of numbers. So in this lottery, your number is between A.001 and A.071. Let me know if you don't have that. That is the number that is going to be called tonight. I won't be calling anyone's full name just for privacy purposes. So when I am doing the drawing, it will be the number that you have. When I start the drawing, I'm going to be putting these index cards that I have here into the lottery box that's next to me. And these have been pre-shuffled. I'll shuffle them again when I put them in there. I'll show the number to you as I draw it, and then I will just jot it down. So I don't need to rewatch this to know what order they were drawn in. So I just will take a moment to do that, record the number down, and then following the lottery, sometime tonight or at the latest tomorrow morning, each household that was approved for the lottery will be sent an email that's going to include next steps in the process, as well as a summary of some of the information from tonight. And it is just an important reminder to everybody that this lottery is just one step in the process. So everyone who has entered into this lottery has not yet submitted income, asset, or tax documentation to us. So you were entered into this lottery based on your self-reported information that was on your lottery application. So if after this lottery, you're invited to move forward, you're going to be required to supply SCB housing with all of that income, asset, and tax documentation within about 10 days. There was a document requirements guide that was provided to you along with your lottery application number. And that document spells out exactly the types of information that we're going to need from you. So how many pay stubs, that sort of thing. Hopefully you've already begun to gather some of that information. We just want to be sure that everyone understands, like I said, that this lottery is just one step in the process. So even if you're a top household on the waiting list after tonight, you're not guaranteed a chance to purchase one of the homes because we still need to confirm that you're eligible for the affordable housing program by reviewing your documentation. All right, so the lottery results from tonight will be sorted. After I do the drawings, I need to sort the lottery results and put them onto the waiting list for these homes. And the sorted waiting lists are going to also be attached to the email that you receive from me, hopefully tonight, at the latest tomorrow morning, like I said. You're going to notice that on each of those waiting lists, there are a few top households who are highlighted in green. And that's indicating that those households that are in green are going to be sent separate email notices from SCB Housing, inviting you to go ahead and submit that information that we need from you in order to approve you for the affordable housing program. So after tonight's drawing, SCB Housing is going to be inviting forward 28 applicants to move forward in the process to submit the supporting documentation. So you might wonder, why are we asking 28 households to submit their verifications to us if there's only 7 homes? And that's just because we want to ensure that the process isn't delayed by us screening only the very top households on each of those waiting lists. So it is possible that just the top households provide all of the necessary documentation, they're found eligible, they buy the home. If that does end up being the case, then some of you will have submitted documentation to us and potentially been approved for the program, but won't have the opportunity to purchase the home or to purchase one of these homes. But likely that will not be the case. There will be, some people who drop off the waiting list, they're found ineligible, they just decide they're no longer interested in the home, that sort of thing. So it's likely not going to be the very top households who end up purchasing the home. So just keep all that in mind. We're going to be inviting more households forward than there are homes. So if you're not one of those households that's highlighted in green on the waiting list when you receive it tonight, you're not going to be moving forward in the process at this time. However, like I mentioned, you might be called forward in the future if some of the households on the waiting list drop off and the home is still available for purchase. So there's going to be 2 drawings tonight. There's going to be a local preference drawing, and then I'm going to do the full drawing, the general drawing for all the waiting lists. So I mentioned that there were 66 households who reported that they had local preference. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw the local preference households. And so there's several waiting lists. There's 2, I believe, waiting lists that have local priority, which means that when I draw these numbers, that is the order of priority that I'm going to be using when I'm sorting the results for the local preference households. The number that you're drawn, so if you're the first person drawn, that doesn't mean you're the #1 person on the waiting list, because there's still need to be sorted. So type 3 households, for example, have priority for these homes because they are 3-bedroom homes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the local preference drawing now. Let me know if you have any questions before I do that. These are, how many type 3 households are there? So a lot of this information is going to be in the handout that I send to you after tonight. But so total for all of the 71 completed applications we received, there were 35 type 3 households. And it's broken down further for you in this for each of the waiting lists. So for example, the 3-bedroom local preference affordable homes, there were 48 local preference households. There are 29 households who are type 3 for that waiting list. So it'll be further broken down for you when you get that handout tonight. Any other questions before I start? So this is these represent the numbers here for the local preference households. So there's 66 note cards here that I'm going to put into the box here, and I'm going to draw them out. Bear with me as I do that. It's going to take a minute to draw everyone, and then once I'm done drawing the local preference households, I'm going to add the general households. There's 6 households that do not have local preference. They will be added to these 66 cards, and we'll have 5, and we'll have the 71 total cards drawn after that. So it's going to take a bit. Anyone else before I start? All right, so once again, these are the local preference cards here. I'm putting them into the box. I know it's hard sometimes to see. They've already been shuffled, but I'm going to move them around again. And I'm going to show you each of these numbers as I draw them. Try to make it as random as we can by moving things around. And the first number I'm picking out here is A039. I'm going to write that down. A060. A064. 65. 67. 20. 19. 9. 32. 34. 13. 27. 35. 18. 43. 33. 16. 30. This is a local preference drawing. Number 1. 41. 46. 53. 44. Number 5. $23. $21. $28. $36. $63. $15. $50. 50. $10. $55. $40. $45. $26. $54. Number 3. $71. $66. $56. A little bit. Number 70. $62. $11. $8. $14. $69. $12. $29. $37. $49. Number 6. $59. $68. $52. $48. $42. Got a few more here. $38. Number 2. $51. $24. 57. Number 7. 22. 61. And the last number here is 58. So that was the local preference drawing. The numbers, the order of the numbers don't mean a whole lot right now, because like I said, they still have to be sorted onto the waiting list. And those were lottery numbers of households who were type 1 households, type 2 households, larger households, smaller households, that sort of thing. So I'm shuffling the cards up again now because now I'm going to do the general drawing. And that will include everyone, including the non-local preference households. So the 5 households who haven't heard their number yet are being added into the mix now. So I'm going to be drawing 71 numbers next. And then that will be it. So these drawings are what allow me to sort the results after the lottery tonight, and you will receive the waiting list from us after they've been sorted, so you'll know exactly where you stand on the list. All right, shuffling them up here, gonna give the box a good move around again. All 71 cards are here. Again, here's the box, I'm gonna put them in. Pop on, and this will be the general drawing for the home. All right, so the first number drawn in the general drawing, 38. 52. 5. 51. 19. 6. 2. 69. 33. 45. 60. 60. 28. 30. 26. 57. 14. 59. 1. 24. 34. 66. 36. 70, 37, 35, 62, 42, 7, 43, 4, 40, 40, 29, 64, 16, 10, 71, 65, 44, 39, 8, 53, 15, 56, 20, 20, 58, 31, 55, 17, 67, 3, 18, 22, 68, 13, 9, 54, 25, 11, 41, 49, 47, 46, $12, $50, $61, $32, $48, $23, $21, $63, and the last number in the general drawing is 27. So that was it. We did the local preference drawing first. That was the general drawing, which included all 71 households. And the purpose of these drawings is, again, it's one step in the process. I'm going to now be able to sort the results from tonight to generate the waiting list for these homes. And I will take the priorities into consideration for, the local preference list, for example. The local preference households will have the highest priority on those lists. The general list will only be sorted by household type, meaning type 3 households, as you saw in our materials, will have priority since these are 3-bedroom homes. So I'll wait around just for a couple minutes. If there's any questions, you will be receiving a email from me tonight or tomorrow morning with the waiting list attached. You'll see if your number is highlighted in green. You'll see where you are on the waiting list, and it'll have some additional information about steps going forward and a little more information too about the lottery applications and how many local preference households there were again, and how many type 1, 2, and 3 households for each waiting list. So again, let me know if you have any questions before I let you go. Do all type 3 households outrank numbers drawn early? So on these waiting lists, type 3 households have priority on all of the waiting lists. If, for example, on the general waiting list, if the top 5 numbers that I drew tonight, if those were not type 3 households, yes, all of those people are going to be further down the waiting list than they might think because they were drawn first, second, third, for example. But if you're not a type 3 household, you're not going to be at the top of the list. So yes, yep, because all of these waiting lists, type 3 has priority. Anyone else? That's why the number you were drawn tonight doesn't mean a whole lot, especially if you're a type 3 household, because you don't know how many type 1 and 2 households were drawn ahead of you. But it'll be a lot more clear once you get those results from us with the waiting list attached. And I hope to get those out to you tonight, like I said. So it'll be coming from info@sdbhousing.com. That will be the email address. So just keep an eye on that. And if there's no other questions, thanks for joining and have a good night. Good night, everyone.